welcome back to Baun Backyard Eats. I'm Amber the Unicorn.
And I'm Laura the Beaver.
You might be wondering why we're in our PJs.
That's because this week it's
breakfast! So we're doing a little bit of non-traditional breakfast here. We are doing chilaquiles in a cast iron pan and potato boats.
So we've got our fire. Remember, safety first. We've got our fire extinguisher. And make sure that you've got plenty of air blowing through that to light up that wood really well.
Alright, so starting with our potato boats, I just halved a whole bunch of potatoes in half, and I'm slicing in the middle just so there's a little bit more surface area for that fire. And we are slathering them in butter. We're using plant-based butter here. Just use as much butter as you possibly could want, and you will be putting two halves together, and you'll be placing that in some foil. So it's going to be going into the fire pretty soon. And I did eventually double wrap them just to make sure that the potatoes did not get too badly burned in the fire.
And you can always use whatever butter you'd like. Obviously, we wanted to keep it vegan at its base, but you can always add on or make your own changes.
So we're putting the potatoes on first, because again, they're going to be cooking for about 30 to 40 minutes. So we just wanted to, utilize that fire in the coals.
And if you want to skip a little time, save a little time, you can always throw those potatoes in the microwave for 5 to 6 minutes before you put them on the fire, and they'll cook a little quicker.
So back in the cast iron here, we have combined our salsa verde and our vegetable broth. This will be the base of your chilaquiles. So with just that mixture, that will be going to the fire pretty soon.
And then while we're waiting on that, we can just get some of our other prep work done for the things that are coming later on after we're done with the fire.
Yeah, so lots of chopping. We have these beautiful golden heirloom tomatoes. And again, we're back at the fire, moving those potatoes onto other parts of the coals to make a little room for our cast iron to go in the middle.
And that cast iron with our broth and salsa verde mixture, you just throw some foil over it and pop it right on for 5 minutes.
And you might see my child Leo, or Leonardo DiCaprio, in the back. I wanted to bring him just so he could watch the fire.
He's very engaged.
He's so cute.
So we're just move those potatoes around, making sure they're getting some even cooking. And we're back in the kitchen as we're waiting on those. Again, just chopping some stuff up for later. Again, the heirloom tomatoes, we had some chives there. We'll get some avocados in there later. But those tomatoes really had a lot of really great flavor. So it was really great to use those tomatoes and dice them up.
Alright, so those 5 minutes were over. We came back outside, opened up that foil, and I am about to pour an entire bag of chips in there. And you just want to move those chips around to make sure that they all get coated by your base mixture.
Yeah. And then we're back inside, and we've got some of our toppings that are going to start to go on. So we're just opening up some black beans and some corn. And that's going to go right over that chip and salsa mixture. We also poured some more salsa, a little bit more broth, just to get a little bit more liquid in there to soak up with the chips. And then you just toss it right on, kind of spread it out as evenly as possible. And again, this is a spot where you can add really whatever you'd like to on there. If you like different kinds of beans or other kinds of toppings, it's not that important that you do everything exactly how we do.
Yeah, Laura here is grating up some Jalapeño Havarti cheese to go on top. And we are also going to be adding some vegan chicken here. One of the best things about this chicken is that you don't have to worry about it being cooked through all the way, because it's already pre-cooked and there's no animal products in it.
And with this being breakfast, of course, if you are a meat lover, feel free to throw some sausage or some bacon on some marshmallow skewers and just kind of roast those right on the fire. And that's some good stuff that can go right on top at the end. And that's some really good way to get some other meat or protein or breakfast items that you might like.
Alright, so this is ready to go back onto the fire. And again, you are just looking for that cheese to be melted. You don't have to cook anything really fully. So you're maybe looking at another 7 to 10 minutes on the fire.
And as we're back in the kitchen waiting for that to finish up, we're just getting the rest of our toppings prepared with some beautiful avocados. And we have those tomatoes and cilantro from the earlier shots. And look how gorgeous that looks coming out of the fire.
Steam, yeah. It was so good to eat.
So we're throwing our avocados on there. We've got the cilantro. Feel free, again, you can add whatever you like. You can add jalapenos. You can add some different kinds of cheese. We had sour cream. We had queso fresco. We also had vegan queso fresco. So really, you can make it your own.
So I'm pulling all the potatoes out. They've been in there for about 40-ish minutes. Brought them inside, got them all prepared. So we topped them with some cheese, some corn, some green onions, and some beans. Definitely, throw your sour cream on there, some extra butter if you want. Really, again, just customize it to your food preference.
And there are the tomatoes, and look at that awesome color that we see on top of the chilaquiles. It's so pretty.
Yeah, and this is a great dish to share because it definitely is a lot of food. We fed about, six people. We were all pretty happy with the amount of food we got to eat.
And even though we're doing this in our backyards, you can see there's not a whole lot that goes into it. So as long as you have that cast iron pan, you can bring this to your campfire as well if you're going camping.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for episode 2. Remember, if you don't have access to a campfire, you can always recreate this recipe in your oven, over a stove, and if you do recreate it, make sure to post it to your social media and tag us at Pacific Rec.
And stay tuned for next month. Our August episode comes out August 6th, and it's going to be dessert. S'mores 3 ways or s'mores cubed.